Hey everybody! Okay, so the purpose of this video is to get you some solutions to this Max and his Fort quiz. So basically what you were doing was measuring between supports or joists in the shed and then figuring out how to take a little tiny bit of length off of that measurement in order to make the blocks fit in between the supports. So the first things you had to do was you actually had to get the measurements off of the pictures. So here they are right here. I mean, you have it in front of you, you don't have to hold it up. The first one looks like it's sitting right at 12 3/4 inches. Okay. The next one looks like it's either 17 7/16. Yeah, probably closer to 17 7/16 than 8/16 or a half. And from a carpentry point of view, you'd probably want to err on the smaller side than the larger side, just because larger would make it harder for the block to fit in. Smaller, you'd take a little tiny bit more off, which would make it easier to fit in. Rounding rules in carpentry don't always apply to math and vice versa. So, and the last one looks like it's 9 3/4 plus a 16th. So that's 13/16. 9 and 13/16. All right, so those are our three measurements that we have to actually chop off lengths from. So the first thing we have to do is cut a 1/16 of an inch off of each of these. So I'm going to put up here minus a 1/16. So the way that a lot of folks were doing it in class, I think anyway, they were kind of mimicking what I was doing with the example, was changing, if they're not in 16ths already, changing them to 16ths. So this guy right here is going to be 12 and 12/16, 12 and 12/16. And then if you take 1/16 away from 12/16, you end up with 11/16. So 12 and 11/16 for that one. These are already in 16ths, which is nice. So this one, if you take one away, you get 17 and 6/16, which most folks would call 17 and 3/8. They're both right, 6/16 and 3/8. The problem is if you try to find a 6/16 wrench in your collection, you won't. It'll say 3/8, so just make sure. 13/16 is the same way. If you pop a 16th off of this, you're going to be left with 12/16, and you're not going to find a 9 and 12/16, but you will find a 9 3/4. So those are the take a 16th off measurements, and that's what I used in Max's Fort when I was chopping those horizontal little blocks. Take a 16th off, and that's what you end up with. The next part of the homework was start back at these measurements, but then take a 32nd off instead. So I'm going to do minus a 32nd. Okay, so this one is even more fun. You had to start by figuring out what these are in 30 seconds. So 3/4, to change that to 30 seconds, all we got to do is realize to get from 4 to 32, it's times 8. So this times 8 is 24, so you've got 12 and 24 30 seconds minus 1 32nd. We'll just take it down to 23 32nd. So that's going to be 12 and 23 32nd. So that's if you were doing finished carpentry work. Very, very precise cuts. Let's try to do this one mentally. 17 and 7/16. If we double the top and the bottom, that's 14/16, or 14 32nds. 17 and 14 32nds. Taking one away is 17 and 13 32nds. And last thing here, doubling numerator and denominator, 26 32nds, taking 1 32nd away from 26, you're going to get with 9 and 25 32nds. So that's how I would do it, but I've trained myself to do it that way. Another way you can do it is just use the metric system and just subtract 1. But most of us don't carry around metric rulers. We carry around these guys that are in inches. So, and then the last thing was just to use the same method or something different. And I just wanted you to, kind of answer that and run with it. So, okay, I hope this helped. We'll see you in class. Bye.